Did you know that for this movie, animators decided upon Judy's purple eye color because they thought the rest of her gray fur markings were too dull, particularly for a main character. Purple was chosen to represent her energetic and optimistic personality. So, Zootopia is one of my favorite Disney movies of the past decade or so. It's such a fun movie, but at the same time, it really gets your attention with some really hard-hitting messages. It's so well done. And I have three things that I like about this movie, and my last thing is definitely my favorite. And before I get into my first thing is, drop in the comments below, what is your favorite district from Zootopia? So the first thing I liked about this movie is the characters. Really the thing I like the most when it comes to the characters of Judy and Nick is, as opposite of a personalities they are and worlds, prey, predator, right? Their chemistry is it's so good. They work so well off each other. It's just pettiness and sarcasm and attitude, but also just like their experiences that they've been through. They are so much alike in so many ways than they are different. I mean, that's one of the big things that drives this movie is embracing the differences. You get to see them, just the progression of their relationship, how it starts out and to how it ends, and I always love that. I always love seeing the progression and just how they're really not afraid to like dig into each other and challenge each other and support each other and encourage each other through everything. And then the second thing I loved, which is the most important thing I like the most, and the thing that really anchors this movie. This movie does not shy away at all with tackling very, very almost controversial topics and subjects that people don't really want to talk about. The stereotyping, bigotry, there's prejudice, there's a little bit of racism that they threw in there in a couple parts that you might miss if you're not really paying attention. But they're really trying to drive home this idea of like, yeah, we're all different, right? We've heard this 100 times. We're all different. We're all different skin colors. We're all different belief systems. But at the very end of the day, if you really look at it, peel all that away, we all bleed the same, right? We all have struggles. We all have trauma. We all have a past. And we can all get along if we really, really want to, if we really try, if we really knock down these stereotypes. First impressions, right? You don't get a second chance at a first impression. I love how it calls people out in this because every single person, even myself, can get better at this, get better at not being so prejudiced towards someone because of whatever reason, or having a little bit of too many stereotypes, right? Because you don't know the person, right? I mean, you would hate it being done to you. You've got to be willing to keep an open mind. You've got to be willing to be humbled and be uncomfortable, be vulnerable, and that's not easy for anybody. Never is. It takes years for some people to get really good at being vulnerable and open about stuff. The main goal of humanity, right, is to live in peace. Everyone wants to coexist with each other. There's something deep within humans that long for the idea of world peace. And we're always constantly reminded that there's no way we're going to get world peace. There's no way we're ever going to coexist because there's all these stereotypes in the way. There's bigotry in the way. There's racism in the way. There's prejudice in the way. There are so many different areas and routes you can go to say why we'll never have a utopia, right? And then my last thing, my favorite scene, is right after they're in the Tahunga district, Nick gets Judy out of getting fired, right? Which is super admirable. That's one little part, but then he goes into telling Judy, like, you can never let them see that they get to you. And then he goes into his story about how he wanted to be in basically like the Boy Scouts for animals, and they didn't want him because he's a fox. And in that moment, something clicks in Judy's head. She can relate so much to this guy, but it's like flipped. It's almost like yin and yang, where she was excluded or she was looked down upon or whatever because she's a rabbit by a fox. Well, this fox here was looked down upon and was treated terrible because he was a fox by prey. So like, just like her realizing how they really are so similar, and how you get to see this openness to Nick and this vulnerability, because Nick is such an awesome character. I love Nick, but you get to see him really bare his soul in this moment where everyone is trying to, it's a defensive mechanism, right? Like, everyone has a defensive mechanism. They're trying to be the tough guy, the tough woman. They're trying not to see anyone get to them. They want to put on a front, they want to put their armor up. But if you're with a certain person and you're in a certain situation, eventually you got to talk about it. I mean, I would encourage anyone to, you got to open up to somebody about past trauma, past stuff that has really bothered you. Because the thing I love is the most is you see that everyone has a past, everyone has trauma, everyone going through things, and you're not on your own. It's selfish to think that you're the only one going through something. You're the only one who's ever experienced prejudice or stereotype or being excluded from something because you weren't cool enough, smart enough, white enough, black enough, you weren't in the same religion, you weren't whatever, you fill in the blank, right? And then you have to grow up, and you grow up and you can either be bitter about it or you can become better because of it. So that just really has always been a favorite moment for me. It really sends home just the strong character writing behind Nick, and also the character writing behind Judy. So I love this movie so much. If you haven't seen this movie in a while, check it out again. It's on Disney Plus. Get hyped for Zootopia 2 coming out in November. I can't wait to see us return to Zootopia. Some new characters, some old characters, see where the story takes us. So for Zootopia, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 Mudflaps. And remember, leave me a thumbs up and drop in the comments below. What is your favorite district from Zootopia? See you soon.